southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down.
What's going on, guys? Tristan and Tony here with another episode of the Zero Duck 30 podcast. What's going on, my dad, Tony?
We were just talking about this before the podcast. He goes, it's so weird, like in a professional environment, how, I go, hey, Dad, and then everybody's going, who's Dad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's great. I'm doing awesome, and I am so fired up to have one of our good buddies on here tonight. Go ahead, Tristan.
Well, I guess, man, we'll have to get into this later, how we linked up with this guy, but Jason Allen is his name, and he owns Ackley Outdoors, and you guys have seen us rock his lanyards and gun totes and game totes and all that stuff for a couple years, and we just thought it'd be an awesome guest to get on the podcast and talk about all that good stuff. And he's out in Idaho, some legendary duck hunting out there, obviously, and we just felt like there'd be some good topics to have on, and we're thankful, Jason, that you took the time to come on the podcast. And why don't you kind of give everybody some background on yourself and how you got into duck hunting and all that stuff?
Absolutely. Well, first off, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I originally started hunting big game out here in Idaho at the age of 12.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, you couldn't start hunting until you were 12. It wasn't like it is now where you can do it at 8 and 10 years old.
Huh.
And so, started out with big game, worked my way into hunting some upland game birds through high school, and then finally got into waterfowl about my mid-20s, and had a buddy invite me out to go on a Canada goose hunt, and just fell in love with it and never looked back.
That's pretty cool. It kind of sounds like my upbringing, honestly, because we're big deer hunters from Illinois, and obviously it's a much different world than what you guys do out west. But getting into waterfowl just here since I've been probably 20. I'm about to be 26 next month, but I kind of feel that. Yep. It's definitely a addiction.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, only thing I can say probably that I love hunting more than waterfowl is hunting elk.
Yeah.
That's about it. Everything else can take a backseat.
Which at some point in this podcast, we need to get into that, because I know you just came off a week-long elk expedition.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to talk about that.
Well, it was beautiful views and
beautiful sunrises and sunsets. Well, but hey, it's hunting, right?
Absolutely, yeah. If you got one every time, they just call it killing.
Yeah.
So, Jason, tell us about who you are. One thing that intrigues me about talking to folks is I want to know who you are as a family man, your personal life. I mean, feel free to not share what you don't want to share, but who are you? How can we help our viewers, understand, who is the guy behind the scenes?
So, I mean, generally, I'm just an all-around badass. I like to think.
The greatest answer I've ever heard to a question. The greatest answer.
You know what? I wake up every morning. Excellence.
Yeah.
Yep. So no, I'm. My family comes first and foremost. I've got two kids. I got a 22-year-old son. I've got a 19-year-old daughter, and I've got a 1-year-old grandson that I'm ecstatic through the moon right now because he finally said "Papa" in front of me today. So that's a good. That just made my whole week.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, just got the two kids, grandson. Both my kids have moved out, living on their own. So it's myself and the wife and the dogs at home now, and the kids just come to visit.
And what pays the bills? What do you do? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do.
I just know you travel a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of irons in the fire, and some some pay, some don't. Those ones are more hobbies than anything. So I work for a roofing distributor. My full-time job, I work for a roofing distributor. I'm a safety trainer, and I travel all over the country to our branches, everywhere. We're in every state except for Alaska. And,
Wow.
Training people how to operate the cranes, forklifts, training them rigging and signaling, OSHA requirements and DOT requirements, and, trying to cover all the bases to make sure that all of our associates are safe and efficient at their job. And, ultimately the goal is that everybody goes home in the same condition they came in that morning at.
Very cool. I mean, because it's obviously a dangerous environment when you're talking about boom trucks and cranes lifting shingles and people on top of roofs and all that stuff. I can only imagine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
Well, cool. Well, why don't we get into, I guess, let's get into Ackley first of all, and then I would like to at some point get into kind of how we connected, because honestly, looking back on it, I don't know that I remember for sure.
Oh, so you're getting old like your father.
I just know at some point along the line we connected on social media, and I just kind of started using Jason's stuff, and it was awesome.
Well, let me tell you this from my perspective is I remember Tristan coming to me and going, "Dad, this dude is really cool." And he's like, I go, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah, dude," because he makes all these lanyards and stuff like that. We connected, however you guys, I don't remember either.
Probably Instagram.
But he's like, "Dude, he's really cool, and he's just like us, and he hunts out there in Idaho," and we find that a little story tale for us, because it's like one of those bucket list things to get up there and you guys this type of area and duck hunt. And I was intrigued by that immediately, but Tristan just came right out and told me, he goes, "Dude, we're buying their products." That's what he told me. He's like, "They're great quality stuff and everything." I was like, "All right, let's do it, dude," because I'm all about, let's help the guy or the gal that is out there trying to live the American dream.
Well, anyway, Jason, why don't you go into some of the, I guess, the background on Ackley Outdoors, and what made you get into that, and when did you realize you had a knack for making this kind of lanyards and all that stuff?
Yeah, so it was probably about 3 years ago. My folks had gotten me this little some paracord and a jig for making like the survival bracelets. They got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
And so, I was like making some of these things. I was like, all right, yeah, this is cool. But after you make about 10 or 20 of those things, you're like, yeah, this sucks. I need something else. I need something else to do. And, Christmas time, it's right there in the middle of duck season. And so, I was getting all my gear ready one night, because I was going to be going out hunting the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at my lanyard, and I'm like, this thing is a sad, pathetic piece of crap.
Yeah.
And so, and of course, I mean, not to knock a brand, so I'm not going to say it, but Banded. It was basic, and it wasn't, there was like no quality to it, and it was starting to fall apart. I only had it for one season, and I'm like, I could probably make something better than that.
Yeah.
And so I started doing some research on different type of knots to do. And, like I said, I made a couple lanyards, and, first one that I made, I looked at that thing. I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool for about 10 minutes. And then I called my buddy up, like, "Hey, you need a lanyard. Take this. Take it. I don't want it. I just don't need to see it anymore."
No questions.
And, yeah, no questions. Like, you want to burn it, bury it, I don't care, but just take it, And, I started kind of experimenting with different types of knots and designs and stuff. And, I wanted to come up with something that was, kind of that I could have as like my kind of like a signature, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of came up with the design for the Camus lanyard, which is the one that Tony's got.
Yes.
And, the first ones that I made, the very first one that I made for myself, I braided it up, I did it real loose, so it kind of had a wider strap across the neck for more comfort. But the problem I found with that, I put a duck call on it, and over time it started pulling that cord tight. So, and it had just a big open loop where the lanyard was hooked on. So then I decided, then go and tighten it up, make it a little bit tighter on the knot, make a better quality, and just kind of evolving everything from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I guess kind of going back to how we connected, I want to say it was like for sure over Instagram. And
yes, it was.
Yeah, and
I'm getting old, but I'm not that old. I do remember how we met.
Well, could you? I honestly
shed some light on the damn situation,
which is pretty sad because I'm 25, so I should like. But honestly, I don't remember. I just know that it's been a couple years.
So it was through Drew Rossman, the flock dog, and I had made a lanyard and a tote for him. He was kind of helping me promote, and he was going to do a giveaway. And I think he was doing a giveaway and was doing it with that tote that I'd made him.
Yeah,
and said, we'll help advertise. Put your name out there and stuff, and anybody that enters, they have to follow you. And started. Gained a few followers on Instagram, and I was looking for some field staff to help kind of push the brand and promote it. And you had applied for that, and we talked about it. And kind of that's how we'd met up.
Well, and I know I remembered that for sure because basically that's more or less what our relationship the last 2 years has kind of been field staff kind of promoting your stuff, but.
And cross promoting and stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny you brought up the thing with the no name company Lanyard, because this honestly, as my duck hunting career is like progressed and stuff, and I've got nicer calls and stuff and shit I don't want to lose,
Right.
I going into this season because my dad for my birthday last year got me a nice call that was like $100, $100 and something bucks, and with those kind of calls, you don't want some janky freaking Academy little lanyard that has one loop on it, especially on public land, beating your stuff up. So that's why this off season I went ahead and got that upgraded lanyard from you, Jason, because I was like, I can't risk like losing my calls and stuff this season.
I'm going to jump in here real quick, and I'm going to talk to the average person getting into duck hunting. All right, because I think this is a great time to jump in on it. When I first got into duck hunting, what do we all do? It's convenient. We go to your academies, whatever, right? I went into academy and I still have the lanyard, but here's the thing, you guys. I got this lanyard and it had one loop, had 3 different places with one loop. And I was like, oh, okay. Put that on your duck call, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know nothing about lanyards. I just bought that and I put one loop on each one of them. Well, now I've realized, and we, of course, us that have been duck hunting a while, and we spend this good money that Tristan talks about on these duck calls, there's a reason why there's 2 loops per call. All right.
Exactly.
And it's to hold both ends of your call, because I have been down that road where I had an expensive call and I had the one loop lanyard from Academy, and now I'm like, where's my mouthpiece? As waterfowlers, we experience all kinds of extreme weather conditions. Stay bone dry and warm with Frog Togs hunting gear. You can check them out at frogtogs.com or at frogtogshunt on Instagram. It's gone. So I'm just talking to all you new folks that are getting in. Don't go out there and just buy that cheap lanyard from Academy. It's not going to do you any good. It's a waste of money. You need to talk to Ackley.
Yeah, that's right.
But I just want to throw that in because I think a lot of people will go through that.
That is exactly why when I started doing those that I put double drops on those. Unless somebody specifically requests a single drop, everything's going to come with a double drop. So you can have one on the barrel, one on the insert.
Yep.
I don't know how many people I've talked to over the years that, they were walking through, they're wading through the brush trying to get down to their hunt spot, and they get there and they're missing half of their call.
Mm-hmm. Been there.
And
Yep.
yeah. And I've even had calls come apart on my lanyard.
Oh yeah.
Because I've had that double drop there, both pieces are held on there.
Yeah.
I just pop it back together and go.
Yep. I guess it's kind of a good point to bring up. One thing that's cool about, you have your signature product, Jason, but you're pretty flexible on creating. I mean, if somebody comes to you with the design, you're pretty open to just about anything, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've got, the firearm or the shotgun leash that I have on my website was actually something that customer came to me and said, hey, I'm hunting out of a canoe or I'm hunting out of a kayak. I've already lost one shotgun. I don't want to lose another one if I capsize on my kayak. Can you make something kind of like this?
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, figured out how long they wanted, what they wanted it to kind of look like, made that one up. He's like, yep, that's it. And
Yeah.
I was saying, this is a pretty good idea and a good design. Like, I might just start marketing this. And boy, as soon as I put that up on the website, I had 10 orders right away.
Wow. And when thinking about that just from like our southeastern perspective, in Florida, there's so many kayak accessible areas in Florida. Florida has so much water. It's not like, you get into some of these like Midwest areas, and I mean, it's big water, it's like a river, or you're going in
It'd be too dangerous.
It'd be too dangerous or something to kind of go kayak. But Florida, I know a lot of people in Florida that duck hunt out of a canoe, a kayak.
Oh, that's the thing. All you gotta do is look on the internet, and I mean, now these new canoes or kayaks with the motors on them and stuff. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
I don't even think honestly, I think you can buy a kayak now, and you can just program the coordinates and just sit back and go sleep.
Well,
It's stupid.
yeah, but
I'm being overboard about it, of course, but hey, it's coming.
that's I'm glad you brought that up, because there's definitely a certain portion of our listeners that are out of Florida. I don't know the percentage, but it's got to be a good, because we spend so much time duck hunting there, So that's anybody listening from Florida, definitely any of your kayak hunters. It's probably something you should look at.
Absolutely.
But I guess I kind of wanted to get into some of the custom stuff. Jason, we've kind of approached Jason about that he's done for us. Like, I know one off the top of my head for sure was like the turkey tote, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd reached out to Jason, and I was just like, dude, if I'm gonna be strapping in a turkey, I want with this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, this is the guy that makes them, and he made me a really cool one, you guys. It's orange, and I wanted the orange added to it just simply for the fact that when you're trucking through the woods turkey hunting, right? It's so thick with the foliage and everything else, at least where we're at, and you drop it. I want to be able to find it. I mean, I don't want to camouflage with everything else. It's different when you're duck hunting because you're just kind of like in that same area.
I honestly thought you were going to say, because turkey hunting, I think, I could be wrong, but I think it's like one of the most accident prone public land hunting activities, because people like spray themselves thinking, they're a turkey or whatever, So I thought, that's kind of another side, you got orange strap hanging on your shoulder. I mean, little sidebar safety thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but where Tristan's going with all this is the customization of what Jason does here. Let's just expand on that a little bit. Maybe you, like with our bows, I know like when I lived in Florida and I had orange in my bow because it was just a Florida thing, but you can do that stuff with, Jason's done this for me. He's made my lanyard and my gun strap and my tote all match exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And I'm just a matchy guy, but that's the cool thing is however you want it, you just get with this guy and he's going to take care of you, and make that look like you want it to look.
For sure.
Or designed how you want to design it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing recently that we were talking about off air was the that type of game tote I saw. And the reason Jason, I actually hit you up about that is because I got this new, I'm sure you know the Dr. Duck guys and see them around, Jason, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So they came out with that, they're partners with that Roost Outdoors or whatever, but they came up with that, the Journey backpack, and it's actually got like little carabiners on the side that like they kind of show like clipping in one of those style, game totes into that. So like if you have your, strapped in the tree in the timber, you just clip in your, little game tote into that carabiner. And I just thought that was awesome. And I was like, well, I mean, I saw that and I just approached you about it and you're like, oh yeah, that's no problem. I'd make that right up.
Well, you remember when we were like, I'm just going to bring up a very specific instance. You remember when me and you and Mike limited out on the wood ducks on that crazy morning? Mm-hmm. Remember you had that full strap and you're like, dude, where do I hang it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we just didn't have accessible limbs because they've probably broken off by people over the years or they were dead. But you were struggling to try to find a place to hang that, and that would have been a great opportunity.
Yeah, that's a timber-specific problem, I feel like.
It is.
But yeah, it's cool that you offer that to your customers, Jason, that you have that flexibility to, kind of really bring anything they want to life,
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't be, set. Okay, these are, 5 things I'm going to sell, and they're only going to be this color, and that's that. It's that, it's kind of professional suicide, in my opinion, for that. Because I'm going to have that one-off person that, like with the Hagerman lanyard, the one that I've got, that one custom colored one that I got up there that's the orange and gray.
Yep.
Did that for a guy in California because it matches his duck call, or his duck call that he's got on his lanyard.
That's cool.
And it's not one of my main colors that I'm gonna throw out there, but if somebody wants it, yeah, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah.
Well, how cool are you to walk up a duck camp and like all of your stuff be matchy? Like, I mean, let's face it, you duck hunters, some of us are obsessed with doing stuff like that. And you come walking in and maybe you're a big Tennessee fan that just beat Alabama's ass. Maybe you're a big fan of Tennessee, and now you got your orange strapped in, all that stuff. You come walking in a big rep of Tennessee, people are going to be like, dude, this bro's from Tennessee. You know what I mean? I mean, you can, that's the kind of cool stuff you can do with Jason with Ackley Outdoors.
Heck yeah.
If it wasn't for people wanting to match and be like that, Sitka would never have taken off.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because people, it's just half of freaking the kids that wear Sitka, and I say kids, because there's a lot of kids wearing Sitka. Not just, I feel like the adults that wear it are people that actually are, using
From
it
a
for the value functionality standpoint and can afford it. But the kids that are using it are like, all right, mom and dad's credit card, what's up? It looks cool.
Oh yeah, that's out of my price range, but
I know, right?
To each their own.
Well, that's, not to give, Frog Togs a plug right now, but that's honestly one of the things why we were consumers of Frog Togs before we kind of had a relationship with them, is because of the price point for the durability you get. It's not, I think everybody at this point knows like some of these brands with lifetime guarantees and stuff are really awesome, but to have something that's a reasonable price point is also valuable too,
Well, I think I've got a good way to sum that up, and that is simply that for the average hunter that we're out there trying to get the best bang for our buck, I can confidently tell you with all Frog Tog products I've ever used, they are worth the money, period. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, when you look at what you're getting for the money, yeah, you're right.
The value, you're not going to beat it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be honest, I'm actually looking into the Frog Tog waders because of
Good
you
for
guys.
you. I'm just kidding.
Well, man, this is what, like, in full, and I don't have any problem saying this because I tell everybody this, but when we first, like, when we did not have a relationship with them, I got a pair of Grand Refuge 2.0s, and I wore them, and we're not guys that hunt 60 days a year. We're guys that hunt like 20, 25. And, but we're hunting hard environments, the marsh and the timber and all kinds of different stuff. And the only problem I ever ended up having with them, I just wore them for teal season again, but was the boot kind of dry rotted on those, because there wasn't like a flexibility in the boot. Like over time the plastic or the whatever that is, that mold on the 2.0s kind of wore out, and that's like a common problem people are having. And the 3.0s, we haven't put a lot of mileage on those yet, but they improved that boot design to where it's like not that solid like rubber material that has some flexibility in there now. And I think that's probably going to mitigate some of that. So I'm interested to see how they once we put them through a full season of hard work, we'll see how they hold up. So.
Well, I mean, isn't that what every good company does? And we was talking a little bit about that with Jason in the beginning. Mm-hmm. He says, I've been through those hiccups, and Frog Togs now has been around since the 96, I believe. Yeah. And the only reason why I remember that is nothing against Frog Togs. My son was born that year, all right? But, so that was a special year to me. But, the products have been around for a while, and a good manufacturer takes the hits and they try to get it better. We all know of some of those big brand names out there that will get smashed on social media for not doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
and the only thing I would probably say, Jason, is I know they make some higher end waders that are more expensive. Like they have the Legend series and stuff.
Those are on sale right now.
Oh, good. But I know some of them, like ours, the ones, the Grand Refuge, the reason we like them is because they're breathable waders and they have 120 grams of thinsulate, and the boot's 1,200 grams.
And now, zip out liner.
Well, yeah, that's the 120 grams of the liner that you zip in and out. Mm-hmm. Now, when we're hunting Florida and, it's like 50 degrees, that's nice. When you're hunting Idaho and it's ice and snow, because we've hunted the timber in them, and obviously you layer up, put on socks and all that underneath your breathable waders, but they are a little cold once you start getting into like the 30s water temperature. You're hunting in like 38 degree water in the timber, your feet will get a little cold. But,
well, it comes down to the point of what can withstand that. We've hunted in the teens in water that, like you said, is very close to freezing.
Yeah, but I'm sure they have a model that has a 16 or 1800 thinsulate boot, and I know for sure they have one with a 330 gram zip-in liner. Mm-hmm. So it might be worth looking at that too, Jason. Well, I don't know.
Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order. Well, and you might want to look into their, one of the things that we definitely saw as a need for the business is their wader pants. This year, those are a functional piece of warmth, Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, dude, check them out. And if you lived around here, I'd be like, dude, take a pair of mine out and go wear them, and before you even spend your money, yeah.
Yeah, it's only like a day drive.
Yeah, it's like 30 hours because we've talked about before, and I know too, Jason, is us trying to get out and hunt with Drew and, hopefully hunt with you too. But it's just like, man, it's 30 hours driving, and the flight, it's just, how it is flying your gun, your shells and all this other stuff. It adds up quick.
Yeah, we love you, brother, but it's a long way.
No, I don't blame you. No, and it's a hassle to fly with a gun too. Mm-hmm. Just getting it checked in. I did that last year. Went and hunted Northern California with some buddies that I write on a blog with, and it was surprisingly, it was more of a hassle checking my gun at Boise than it was checking it in San Francisco.
Wow.
And it was actually more relaxed getting my gun in San Francisco than it was in Boise. Do
you mind going into that? This is a little off the cuff, but I'm going to be flying mine Georgia to Florida second weekend of the first split here. And do you mind kind of walking through, like, what's that process like for people that have never flew with their gun before? Because I'm sure this is
a great thing to bring up.
I'm sure there's a lot of waterfowl hunters that are going to come across this if they haven't. What's kind of that process like, Jason?
So you want to have a hard-sided case, and it has to be one that you can lock. it's better to have one that's got a separate key that you can lock, and you always keep that key on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll have you when you go to check it in. You know, you got to go and declare you have a firearm. They'll have somebody from TSA come over. You'll open the case. They'll open it up. They'll inspect it, close it back up, lock it, and then they'll make sure that you have the key on you.
Okay.
Once the key's on you, they'll tag it and run it. They'll tag it and they'll run it into whatever their scanning process is as baggage check. Now, like I said, when it was easier to pick my shotgun up in San Francisco, all I had to do was just go over to the oversized baggage claim and pick it up right then and there.
Okay.
And which is kind of scary, because if anybody that had half a brain that knew what a gun case looked like would have seen that and said, "Oh, there's a gun," and grab it and walk off with it.
Oh man, yeah, that's something to think about.
But then when I was flying back home and I flew into Boise,
Uh-huh.
you know, as soon as it hit the oversized baggage claim, somebody from the airline grabbed it and took it to their office.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, nice.
And then I had to go show them ID to match up to the tag on it, and then they released it to me.
Yeah. Now, were they just doing that they just recognized what that was and they're like, well, we're just going to look out for this guy, or what?
In Boise, it's they know that if they know there's a firearm on the plane,
Mm-hmm.
they will go to where the firearm would come through at the baggage claim and wait for it, grab it, and take it into the office.
Okay.
So that you have to provide a photo ID and proof that it's you before they'll let you take the gun.
I gotcha. Well, that's good to know, because yeah, like I said, I'm gonna be our first split's kind of complicated because Tony's actually gonna be going back to Arkansas during right after Thanksgiving.
I'm being selfish.
Or maybe during Thanksgiving, and going. Well, it's just one of those things. Like, you know, my sister, or not my sister, my fiance's brother. He's having Thanksgiving at his house in Fort Lauderdale. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like that area of Florida can be pretty damn good for duck hunting. And I was just like, I am not going down there and not bringing my duck hunting stuff, because, you know, it's kind of, you know how it is, like where you were just talking about your guys that you hunt with a blog and you hunted with in California, Jason. Like, there's guys that you meet through social media, like you and Drew or whoever else, and you get talking to, and you kind of become like internet friends with them, honestly. Like, and you talk to them a good bit. And there's been guys that throughout Florida that we've talked to, you know, for a while. And I'm just gonna put out some feelers and be like, hey, I'm down here duck hunting. If anybody wants to tag along, or you know, whatever, let's go for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I've actually got another trip coming up next month. I'm going to be flying down to Kansas.
Oh wow!
For a 3-day hunt.
Heck yeah!
And that's with another guy that, you know, met him through Facebook, and you know, with my travels and stuff, I've been in the Minnesota area where he lives,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, we've met up and had a few drinks and chatted, and yeah, this thing came across where he had the opportunity to do this. He's like, hey, you want to go to Kansas, hunt ducks? Like, is a bear shit in the woods? Yeah, let's do it.
Heck yeah! Are you guys hunting with an outfitter, or what are you guys doing out there?
Yeah, it's a private ranch that guides hunting trips on that ranch.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to let me look it up real quick just so I can remember exactly who it is. Ranch Country Waterfowl is who it is.
I gotcha. Well, heck yeah, that you hear a lot of good things out of Kansas and Oklahoma right now. So I'm sure that'll be good, you know, a good trip for you.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. You know, and kind of like with what you're saying, Tony, you know, being selfish. You know, when we get up there in age, you know, it's our right to be a little selfish sometimes.
Yeah, no, it is, man. Especially, you know, you and I have been around the block a little bit, you know, and we've went out and did our thing as a, you know, the progression of a hunter, as so many people know, and they teach us a lot in the safety classes and stuff, that, you know, there's basically 3 phases of a hunter. and you and I are probably definitely in the phase 3, of hunting. And yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, there's more to it than just killing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
There is.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm to the point now, yeah, do I enjoy shooting, birds or, deer or elk? Absolutely. But, if I've got somebody else that's never done it, yeah, I'm going to push for them to do it.
Yeah, for sure, man.
There's nothing like a new hunter, or a new hunter that's just to see them light up over having that experience. I mean, I think anybody that is in hunting for the right reasons would agree with that statement, because just the rush you feel somebody else getting into the sport, no matter what it is, from a deer to a duck, whatever, it's just, I mean, you just know when they're hooked. I mean, it's just such a gratifying feeling,
It is. Just the other night I was having some bush lattes, and to be totally transparent, in my day job, I'm a part owner in a commercial cleaning franchise business, and I've been doing this for 15 years, and it's a very stable industry because, things get dirty. They got to be cleaned, and Tristan's been working for me pretty much since he was 16 years old. And we moved up here and started this new office with some great blessings from some great people that I'm partners with. And, the thing that I've learned so much, over the years is, we all do this. We have these day jobs that we do, and we're so passionate about it because why? It's got to pay your bills, On the flip side of it, I think we're all chasing that thing in the waterfowl industry, and it's not always a monetized thing. Mm-hmm. It's just, like we're going to Illinois this year, and I feel like my only objective is to get about 6-7 guys and my German niece for the first time in the woods ever. And but my goal is to get them out there and let them see that satisfaction. And last year, Tristan and I have been hunting side by side since he was 12 years old, and he was struggling as a deer hunter because it's tough up here in Georgia. I mean, it's tough down in Florida and all that. And we hadn't been able to go to Illinois, and we were struggling as new people to find good public land. And
I was 60 hours in, and I'd seen one deer in 60 hours.
Yeah, and putting in his work, and we're all psychos and wash and spray and nose jam and all that stuff. And I had that blessing, if you look on YouTube, of Tristan smoking the spike.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, what you see him doing in that video is what I chase as a person for other people to experience, because he was so uncontrollably jacked up from that little deer. Mm-hmm. It meant so much to him that's what it is for the new person that comes into the sport, and maybe it's just a doe or a fawn, but, I've heard people even say, something's wrong with my heart. Something's wrong with my heart. My heart's skipping a beat.
There's something to be said for like that. I had been chasing my 10th deer with a bow. That was the big thing for me. And I didn't shoot one the year before. And I got on a good little streak where I, like 5 years in a row, had shot at least one deer. And then the year happened. I didn't get one. And then I was like, I've hunted 60 something hours this year, and I'm going to, and that was only, the first week of November. So, it wasn't like I was done hunting, but I was just kind of like, man, just mentally beat down. Like, I've never hunted this long and not seen more deer activity.
Well, we had hunted private property we didn't know, and we're so used to, like I've said on so many podcasts, that, hey, your dad knows 15,000 acres in Illinois,
public property.
Yeah. Our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% off some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30 at public land. And we go to this new, and we're just striking out like the normal average hunter. And it's amazing. I didn't want to hunt a different stand. I wanted to record him overcoming this objective. And if you watch the video, you'll see true feelings. And that's what we're all chasing, I think. Even viewing it or feeling it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like last week, circle back around to Tristan wanted to talk about my hunt last week.
Well, I'm glad we're getting into it.
We were talking about this off air.
So, we're up, it was a combination deer and elk hunt. Deer season opened on the 10th. We had went up on the Friday before, and we were trying to work on getting some elk. And it's an area that I've hunted many years, and it's like clockwork. There's a herd of elk that sits up on the mountain, and they come down onto this ranch and feed, and then they start making their way back up top of the hill in the trees in the morning.
Huh.
Well, we get up there, and this herd is nowhere to be found.
Wow.
We're seeing plenty of elk hanging out on the ranch that we can't access, but we're not finding this herd that that should have been there. And my main thing was my buddy that went up with me, he had never hunted elk before. And so I'm all like, all right, we're going up, we're getting you on an elk. And he kept saying, he's like, well, hopefully we find, at least find two, so we can both shoot one. I go, I don't care if I shoot one.
Yeah,
I said,
right.
I'm here to find you an elk. That's my main thing. Said, if I find a buck that's decent, I'll take a shot. I said, but other than that, I said, I am mainly here to get you on your first elk. And yeah, we hunted hard all week. That Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were seeing deer left and right. I mean, every hill you come
now, what kind of deer?
There was a deer.
Most muleys, or
in that area, I remember when I was a kid, it was nothing but mule deer. Now there's a lot of whitetail that have moved in, so it's kind of a mix of both.
Okay.
But you still get up high on the mountains, and you'll get just in the mule deer. You get down low by the ranches and the farm fields and stuff, and you'll see a lot of whitetail down there.
Gotcha. Okay.
But that weekend before the season, I mean, we were seeing bucks every day.
Wow.
Opening day comes around, we're all like, well, let's go back up here. You couldn't buy seeing a deer. Couldn't find one. Not even a doe. Nothing is like they all packed up and went to Montana and said, to hell with these guys.
Holy cow.
And kept working some elk that, I mean, I'm sure you guys seen the pictures that I posted up. You see two sets of ears popping up.
Yeah.
I was 25 yards away from this group of six elk, and they were just on the other side of the fence. And they never would cross the fence. They kept, after they got up and went walking down the fence line, I was watching them, and that lead cow would go put her head over the fence like she's getting ready to jump, and then she'd turn and walk down the fence line a little more. Then she'd turn like she's going to jump, and she'd walk down the fence line a little more. So like, woman, quit toying with my emotions. Like, just do it. Just pull the trigger and get over it.
Seems like women are pretty good about that.
No, it seems like my wife. It sounds like my wife.
But we started looking at some other areas, and we were walking this hillside right above another ranch. this buck just inside the fence line of this ranch. This buck jumps up out of the brush. And my buddy starts losing his mind. Oh my God, did you see that? Did you see that deer? He's here. I'm like, just calm down. Like, he's on the other side of the fence. There's nothing we can do about it. I said, yeah, I seen him. I said, but let's just calm down. Let's just keep walking. We went down probably about another 250 yards. And I'll be damned, that buck jumped the fence and started going up the hill. It was a decent 6-point whitetail. And I told my buddy, I was like, get down, get a rest, take a shot. And he was so excited and so amped up, and he takes a shot and, hits right over the top of it. I'm like, okay, you hit high. I said, get a rest, get down, get a rest, and, just calm yourself down, take a breath, take a shot. He hurries up, he takes another shot right over the top of it. And this thing goes up over the ridge. We walk down a little bit and see it just getting ready to come up on the next ridge. And he gets down, takes another shot, and he pulls another shot high. And I was like, "Where are you holding?" He's like, "I'm holding right on him." I'm like, "You're hitting high." And we got talking a little later. He goes, "Yeah, I was pretty excited." I go, "That's what I thought." But
It jumped my string.
but I was all like, "That's what I thought. I figured you were pulling your shot." But you know what? He told me that that is the most fun he has ever had on a hunt. He may not have killed it. He may not have killed something, but he had a great time that week. And that was ultimately what I was looking for.
Yeah,
get him a good time. It'd been nice to get him an elk or a deer, but it just wasn't in the cards.
Right.
Well, ultimately, and it sounds like you could probably say this is the case. He's probably hooked for life. Is that incorrect or no?
Oh yeah, he was. We didn't even leave camp. He was already talking about what we're doing for elk next year.
Yep. That's mission accomplished right there.
Yep, exactly.
That's awesome, man. And well, heck yeah. Well, let's kind of get back, and I'm glad you got into the elk stuff, because when we were talking off air, I was like, man, we got to get into some of that elk stuff. And he's like, man, I don't know. It was tough.
But that's
a little sore. That's a little sore subject.
But I want to get into some of this Idaho waterfowl talk. Some of you guys have listened since real early on, heard Drew on our podcast, which is also from Idaho, and it's just a totally different environment to what us Southeast or even Midwest hunters are used to hunting. And can you kind of talk about, I guess, maybe the species you guys kind of target up there and the type of areas and environments you encounter? It's kind of a loaded question.
Wait.
What?
I'm going to interrupt.
Okay, go for it.
Before we get into that, I want to know if ducks eat potatoes. Bro, I don't see any potatoes anyway.
I cannot confirm nor deny these allegations.
No, but man, dive into that. Talk about this environment and this. I mean, I think to so many people, I see the videos you post and the environment and the area you guys live in, and it just looks so picturesque and so beautiful. Talk about that area and the land that you're so blessed to be able to hunt in.
So, I mean, we're in this area. We're what's considered high desert.
Okay.
So you start getting into the hills. You have a lot of sagebrush, but you still have a lot of pine tree, fir, and stuff like that in the hills. But then where we're at in what's called the Treasure Valley, the Boise area.
Treasure Valley. Okay.
We've got the Owyhee Mountains to the south of us. We've got what's basically we all call it the Boise Mountains to the north of us. Mm-hmm. And we've got two main rivers that we got, the Boise River and the Snake River, that come down through the valley. A lot of guys will hunt they'll hunt sections of the Boise River because it's easy access to walk into. If you're hunting the Snake River, generally you need to have a boat to hunt the Snake River, or have a slow enough spot in the current that it's not going to wash your dog away.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to get them. But I'll target ducks along the river. Some guys target them in dry fields. I've never been good enough to get them to come into a dry field unless it's by accident. But hunting, Canada geese, I target them more in the dry fields and the cornfields and wheat fields versus over water.
I see. Okay. I see. So what kind of species are you guys running into? What do you guys chase up there? Let's just break it down real quick. Let's do a 2-minute commercial on the dabbling ducks and the divers that you guys have access to there, because I always think some of the species I've heard that you guys smoke up there is really cool. So
mostly, for the most part, you see a bunch of mallards. I mean, that's probably the easiest thing to fill your limit with is mallards.
Okay.
We got, widgeon, we'll get widgeon, we'll get gaddy, we'll get some, get some green-winged teal. I personally don't see a whole lot of blue-winged teal. I actually seen one last week when we were up elk hunting, we took a day to go fishing, and there was a drake bluewing that come in and landed on the pond, just hanging out by himself.
That's pretty cool.
He's way behind.
He's a little late.
And not to keep that thought, Jason, but I just had to bring this up since you brought that up. I follow a guy from Minnesota, and we had that like little warm spell that kind of before this cold front that hit the United States. There was a little bit of a warm up, it seemed like, and he shot a bluewing. He was up kayak hunting a river or something and shot a bluewing up in Minnesota. And some wood ducks. Wow. And I was like, dude, he was just like, this is a surprise. I'm like, hell yeah, it's a surprise. But so to hear you say that last week, that's kind of interesting. That warm front must have kind of reverse pushed him a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I got a good look at him. He wasn't fully plumed yet. I mean, he was pretty rough looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird to see him, but it was also weird to see him alone, because I've always, anytime we come across teal, there's always a group of them, hardly ever one flying around by itself. We'll get the occasional wood duck, pintail. I've been told there's redheads and canvasbacks, but I've yet to get lucky and get one myself. I've seen pictures of them. Those are both still on my bucket list.
Me too.
We do get some bluebills come through. On the divers, a lot of golden eyes, a lot of buffleheads.
The buffleheads blows my mind. Because
river.
I see them as such a coastal bird just because what we're used to.
It's weird because where we hunt them is literally saltwater.
Yeah, it's literally the ocean is out in front of you, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're going to Mexico.
Yeah.
That's where we hunt them.
They're very diverse.
I hate buffleheads. They, in my opinion, that's probably the most expensive bird to hunt.
Bro.
Yes.
Facts.
Big time facts.
Facts.
We just had a podcast recently, and Tony was saying he's like, do not bring your Boss shells to shoot at these buffleheads.
No, not your black clouds, nothing. Get your Walmart Winchesters, bro, and bring them.
Yeah,
absolutely. Walmart 2 3/4, because you're going to go through about half a box to kill one.
Yep.
I was actually hunting with Drew, and we had one gaddy, and then the rest were all hen buffleheads. We didn't even get a drake. They were all hen buffleheads.
Oh, that's a bummer.
What a ripoff.
It was like 4 or 5 shots per bird to kill them things.
Yeah. Dude, it's terrible.
The dogs had gotten a workout. I mean, my dog, coincidentally enough, his name is Ackley, and yes, I did name my company after my dog.
That's cool.
But there was a couple of them that, he went about 80 yards downriver to retrieve that thing and swam back up.
Wow.
And it got to the point, he come into the blind, he just kind of sat down and just had this look on his face like, please don't shoot another one.
Dude, I thought until right now, and kiss my ass if you want to give me shit over it, I've been duck hunting for a minute, and to hear that buffleheads are outside of just saltwater blows my mind.
Well, I mean,
because that's just what I'm used to. You know what I mean?
I feel like you hear people shooting them on big, like Mississippi River,
big water,
like rivers like that. So me personally, anyway, from what I follow, I kind of pictured them, if they weren't in the saltwater, it was going to be on a big river, Yeah.
That's cool. But you guys smoke golden eyes up there, and that's a sought after bird for sure.
Yeah, those ones. I mean, for me, it's just kind of like, nothing else is flying and working the spread. Oh, look, a golden eye.
It's like a ringneck to us, probably, because that's
I mean, our number, I would say 1 and 2 with what we kill are ringnecks and blue wings all season in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, those golden eyes, you don't have to call. I mean, you get a little bit of white in the spread, and they'll just come fly right in.
Wow, that's pretty pretty fun to have that as a reliable backup, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it gets the dog some work, and I mean, if absolutely 100% nothing is flying, then I mean, we're banging coots. I mean, it's a coot shoot at that point.
Heck yeah.
Just something to give the dog something to do.
Yeah. Heck yeah. What's
and then,
go ahead.
Another one that I missed is the spoonies. Some people like them. Some people don't.
I love them. I'm a big spoonie
guy. That was one of the things my buddies down in California. My buddies down in California were busting my balls about it, because they're all like, "Well, what birds are you looking for?" I'm all like, "I need a Drake spoonie." They're like, "Really?" That's what he's like. Those are like a dime a dozen. I go, I just need a full plume Drake Spoonie.
Yep.
I go, I want one. I've never shot one. That's what I want. I said, and a pintail. I said, I need a nice bull sprig. And I go, after that, I said, it can be whatever it is. And I mean, I got both of those birds, and they're both sitting at the taxidermist right now. And I don't care if anybody wants to laugh at me. I got my Drake Spoonie. I put him on a shirt. Kiss my ass.
I totally back that statement because I think they're one of the freaking prettiest birds, honestly. And I just think they're badass. And there was like, because we hunt in Florida, and it's like, it's so common for us to shoot like models, black belly whistling ducks, ringnecks, and blue wings. And every once in a while, green wings. Every once in a while, a pintail. Shoveler, spoonie. It's just, those are so like mixed in. But you go to like, it took me going to the Mississippi Flyway to finally get a green wing and a green wing and a nice spoonie. And it's like, to them, it's just a dime a dozen on those birds. And like, to me, I was like over the moon,
Oh yeah. When we were down there on the Delavan refuge, and I understand why they're just kind of like, yeah, that's a trash bird, because you're seeing like flocks of 15, 20 of them come flying in, and you don't have to do anything, just have decoys out there, and they're just dumb. They just come right into us like, oh, there's something there, let's land there. And yeah, after I shot one, I'm like, all right, I'm good, I don't need to shoot another one. Like, I got a nice mature Drake Spoonie, I'm good now, I can shoot everything else.
Did those guys ever mention anything about spoonies doing what they call a dip and go?
Possibly.
So there's one thing that we learned firsthand, because we hunt, with our buddy Delta Thunder, Cade Weatherford, that owns Delta Thunder Outfitters out there, and it's a lot of rice fields and stuff. And we shoot spoonies out there and stuff, but we pulled a quota for like a co-op farmer state field basically, and we hunted it. And we had a group of 30 spoonies like working us good. And at 30,
almost all drakes.
Yeah, almost all drakes. We saw them hit the sun. Like we were like, oh, we're about to light them up. And they were at like 30 yards, and they were 10, 12 feet off the water, but they were at 30 yards.
We need one more turn.
Yeah, so we were like, shit, we don't want, and then they pulled up, and then they just kept getting higher and higher and left. And we got talking with the guys after the fact, and they're like, yeah, they call that a dip and go. And apparently spoonies around there are notorious for like getting on the outside of your spread and acting like they're going to land and then bouncing if they're in a big group. Singles will land, but like big groups, that's what they say.
Interesting.
Very interesting. But, just different areas and stuff. But, well, I guess, one thing we definitely got to get into, one is that if you guys are listening to this and you want to check out some of Jason's products, definitely have to use code ZeroDuck30. You get you 20% off his website. That's the number one thing I wanted to say. The number two thing I wanted to say is we got an awesome giveaway coming up.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Jason was kind enough to join in on the giveaway.
Yep.
And it's awesome, guys. We're really excited. If you listen to the last podcast, we talked about some of it, but Jason is also going to be in it. And Jason, I go ahead and say, because I believe, I don't want to speak for you, but I believe you said anything off your website, right? Or what did...
Yeah, any of the products that I make, someone wants a tote, one of the lanyards, a sling, I'll give them whatever choice of whatever they want and whatever colors they want, however they want to have it set up. If you want the Hagerman lanyard and you want it to be all black, I'll make it all black. If you want it hot pink with pink camo, I got you. It's breast cancer awareness.
Yeah, give it up, ladies.
So,
there you go.
Hey, wait, that's if Katie doesn't listen to this podcast,
yeah.
Bro, I've got a birthday idea for my future daughter-in-law. Hey, consider it done. We're going to talk after this.
Well,
no, I got it.
The one thing I wanted to say is the reason he's bringing that up is because I've been working on my fiance hard to get her to come duck hunting, and she finally is like, all right, I'm going to come. And so,
Tell her to pick out what she wants. Tell her to pick out exactly what she wants, and I'll get with Jason and we'll make it happen.
Anything we can do to make it as fun as possible, that's what we're trying to do. Right?
You know what?
We'll have coffee in there. We'll have heaters.
Yeah, we'll have our dirty duck coffee and everything and lattes. But Saturday when we go on our birthday thing, that's what I'm going to tell her. I'm going to say, hey, you get with Jason. And whatever colors you want, you can make them as pretty as you want. And whatever Jason can find for you, he's going to make it up for you. And I got this. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. That is a spur of the moment cool idea. Man, but Jason, thank you so much, bro. I mean, it's those little things, right, that make a difference in when you're out there hunting that save you time and money. And, dude, I've had my lanyard almost ripped off my head because I'm walking through the woods and it got caught on a stick and it's holding together. And this thing is built with super high quality, guys. And the fact that you can customize it however you want, and Jason's going to work with you and be fair is great. You know, if you guys haven't checked out some of his products, you know, definitely you need to get that Spoonie shirt, dude. It's so funny. I had to buy it immediately. I told Tristan, I was like, dude, include that on the order immediately. I have to have that, you know, and I'm going to cut the sleeves off of it so I can kind of look a little cool with it, you know, but no offense, Jace, but man, thank you for taking the time to be on our podcast tonight.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man, it was good stuff, and I'm glad we got to cover a lot of stuff, and we'll have to check back in with you maybe later on in the season, maybe in January, and just kind of catch up and see, you know, how your season's going and how we're doing and all that, because you guys run through basically like October 20th to January 30th, right?
Yeah, our season opened yesterday for ducks and Canada geese, and it will run until January 31st.
Okay.
And then we got speckled bellies a little after that, and then snows goes into like March.
Heck yeah,
bro,
man.
we gotta get out there, man. We have to. I mean, dude, it's you meet some people, and you guys all know this as duck hunters, right? You meet some people, and you just know that, man, we're bros for life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you just know it, even though that we haven't even had the chance. Like before we made this podcast tonight, you know, Tristan said, it just hit me. He goes, I've never verbally spoken to Jason.
Yeah.
But yet we've had such a deep connection
for like 2 years.
Yeah, that we've had this deep connection because we all know each other's values and what we're after to do and all these things, and you just connect with those type of people, you know, and they're magnets, for sure. You know, and Jason and Ackley Outdoors is definitely one of those magnets, y'all. So hit them up, get that 0-30 discount, and hopefully you're gonna win something.
Heck yeah! And Jason, can you kind of give everybody where they can find you at on social media?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, you know, Ackley Outdoors, Instagram, like I think it's at Ackley_outdoors on Instagram. You know, I had a Twitter for a minute and I just couldn't figure that out. So yeah, that's no go.
Yeah, don't blame me.
Slowly getting into the whole TikTok thing. You know, that's the same thing for Ackley Outdoors on that. And then obviously, you know, you can find all my products on my website, acklyoutdoors.com.
Awesome stuff.
Well, good stuff, man. Well, thank you again for your time, and thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the 0 Duck 30 podcast.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down.